distinguished guests and all professionals, members of the press. Good morning. I think it's still morning, another 5 minutes left to cross the morning hours. I'm really happy to be here today in a very important event, the accounting and auditing rules. Since I'm dealing with the finance in a broader sense, I've seen what happened and what is happening and what are the challenges ahead of us in the financial sector. The role of auditors and accountants are very, very important. I usually give emphasis to three things. First, rules, regulations, standards, whatever you call it. Second, the processes, because these are important. Unless the processes are in place, the standards, rules, regulations are redundant. Third most important thing, person. Because I've seen over the past, many rules, regulations are quite good. In fact, Bangladesh financial rules and regulations are not bad. I think it's quite good following the different standards. The people who used to implement or who are implementing it, and frankly speaking, have not done a good job. Just for example, if you have a gun, you have to decide whether you shoot a tiger or me. So in your hands, the person is very, very important. Like when you call digitalization, do you think computer is enough? The person who is behind that keyboard is also very important. What it does, how it does. So most important thing is to reorient or motivate the persons to do a good job, an honest job, a sincere job. That is very, very important. In Bangladesh, there are many standards, and in international standards, of course, there are International Accounting Services Board, International Auditing and other that. And those who have gone to Basel, and I've been there, I've seen the very important person, financial wizards are there, so they give different recommendations. But implementation of these are not very adequate. Despite all the standards, all the AAA rated companies, why 2007-8 financial scam occurred? What went wrong? Why Wachovia Bank, why Bank of America, and what are the other banks failed? It is just because of the failure of the standards? No. It is the failure of the or corruptions of the people who ran it. I give an example. There's a person called Lesson. I don't know whether you have heard his name. In Singapore, he used to work at a bank. And there's a story when I was in London at one time, that lesson from lesson. Because that chap was telling that what I did in the scam sitting in Singapore was not my decision. It was the decision of my bosses and other people. And what you see, when many of the banks were liquidated, the bosses went with a big package of their bonus and part of the shares. They were never punished. So this is one of the weaknesses of our modern legal system, that those who resort to corruption are never caught, or caught of course, but never tried or never punished. That is one of the most important things. I'm digressing a little bit because I know the standards will be there, there are different formats will be there, but unless the people behind those things are good enough, honest, I don't think it will work. And we might see another financial crisis. I was there during 2007 and 8. And so this is very, very important thing. In Bangladesh context, what is happening, the auditors and accountants are doing their job quite efficiently. They're quite smart people. But I see sometimes the charter of duties of different people or prescribed by the different institutes are a little bit different. Though I'm an economist, I was in a bank, then I was also in a different boards of different companies. I have seen they draw a charter of auditor's charter. Now, if a company does an auditor's charter, Y company does another thing, so that auditor will be a little bit, or accountant will be a little bit confused. If I go to X, that I have got different duties. If I go to Y, there are other duties. And more broadly, the charter given by Bangladesh Bank, charter given by Security Exchange Commission, I don't know if FSA has given any charter or not for the auditors and accountants. So if these are a little bit contradictory, or if you give too many duties, for example, Bangladesh gave 10 TOR, 10 duties in TOR, BC gives another 10, FSA gives another 10, then that poor, I say poor chap, auditor accountant, will be beset with the problem with 30 standards. So what will he do? So I think that kind of a standard in terms of that kind of a standardized charter or terms of reference can be, but I don't say that it could be completely unique. There may be some variations within the broad set of broad norms. Then you can have a specific thing. This is number one. Then I usually see, from my point of view, the numbers are good, but the stories behind the numbers. I usually see that chartered accountant gives a certificate. The best of my knowledge, the papers submitted to me, I'm submitted this report. And most of the reports are unqualified in Bangladesh. I think Bangladesh Bank Governor has mentioned that all are unqualified, very good reports, clean reports, but when you look at their track record or what they're doing, you don't say these are unqualified. Most of them are qualified. So what happens usually, I'm a little bit blunt, there's a kind of a liaison between the auditor and the management. I'm not blaming the board of directors. If you see a triangle, the management, auditor on the left side, right side, the directors. Directors are sometimes innocent, they don't come in. But when audit is done, then there's kind of a discussion between the management and the auditors. And something might happen between them, and there may be some kind of a process where you get the unqualified report. So on the other hand, directors are kept in the dark sometimes. And in Bangladesh, directors are also sleeping or in not, when you talk about the independent directors, they are not independent, or they are mostly the sleeping directors. They come to the board, get a good transport, or get a plane fare, and come into the hotel, and just go back again. So this is not the job of the director. So there are different, you see, there are different practical aspects we have to now address. Not only standards, not only different, whether IFRS 9, IFRS 7, disclosures, but there are some, but I think that is not the domain of the accountants or domain of the auditors, but these are domains of the ICAB, ICME, FRC, Security Exchange Commission. Unless you correct this, I don't think we'll get a very good report in future also. I'm sorry about my apprehension rather, what will happen in the future. And so this is one thing. And you see, in terms of the other day, Bangladesh Bank Governor said that 50% people will be independent director. What is the definition of independent director? In Bangladesh, is the cousin of the chairman, brother-in-law of the friend of the managing director. This is, I was never I was an independent director of two organizations, but they're very, very good one. One local and one international. And international one is listed in London Stock Exchange. And this is so rigorous. As an independent director, I had to pass some tests also. Yearly, they used to send me about my computer knowledge, about my knowledge in financial. Then I had to pass that. But those questions are very simple, not very rigorous. But as an independent, I had to face some tests from the record by the London Stock Exchange. But I don't think Bangladesh Security Access Commission does it for the independent director. So this is what independent director is, and we are quite independent. I just resigned from that board for the International Financial Institution. But we are really independent. We are asked to question the director, and sometimes the directors and auditors used to sit independently, just telling all the management people, including the CEO, to get out of the room so that we can talk. When the CEO remains in the room or CFO remains in the room and the auditor will be present, there will be no independent review. So these are some of the things we have to now address about the whole auditing. But definitely the report, audit reports for the auditors and accountants are important. In fact, this is a third eye of the management. Usually I call it a third eye. I've got two eyes, another eye will be them, so that I can see, I can get some feedback. And unless those are really efficient, they're really transparent, the management or the board of directors will not get it. Now, Suraj is there, you see there is ISA and all that. Classic example, what happened to Enron in 2002? And Arthur Andersen, I was surprised. Arthur Andersen, most famous, one of the most famous accounting firm. And they also had some problem, otherwise they would not have been liquidated. So, being a best firm, one of the big five, now I think there's a big four or five maybe, and that is not there. So, having a big name doesn't mean that big trademark or big brand doesn't mean that they'll also produce a very good report. But one thing that they try to ensure so that their brand name is not tarnished. So there are so many facets, and I think if we have to have a good macroeconomic stability, investors and other economic activities, it will be better to have a better coordination between ICAB, ICFM, FRC, BSEC, Bangladesh Bank. Bangladesh Bank are the receivers, of course, the users. BSEC is not only users, they are also the part of the auditing thing. Of course, the auditors and accountants, they'll have to play a very role, and the coordination among them. So that is very, very. Recently I had an experience, I'll not mention that, there may be some lack of communication between the two professional bodies. In fact, when the FRC was going, I was the governor at that time, process was there. At that point, Mr. Saifur Rahman was there. And there are a lot of controversies, who will be there in committee, which body will be there. And I think both the bodies know who will be there or not. I will not go into that. But I think those kind of things should be resolved, and you should work in coordinated way. আমাকে বাংলায় বলতে বলা হয়েছে। বাংলায় সবচেয়ে বড় কথা হলো অডিটিং, অ্যাকাউন্ট